Stream now, and I am in a fairly uncomfortable position given the injury, minor injury that I have. Is there a way I can make this more comfortable? Yeah, there is a way I can make this more comfortable. Um, so it's 4th of July, and in about an hour, give or take from now, I'm going to go out on the town and see some things blow up, but not before blowing up your subscription feed with this, which is exactly what I'm doing right now. I'll let the people pile in before I get too deep into the weeds with this, but I haven't been having the best day. I haven't been having the best several days, to be quite honest with you. Um, I went to this new job for literally one day, and I had like an hour and 30 minutes of overtime, and the whole day, I think I'm actually fired now because I've had 3 absences from work in light of this injury. Um, I'm probably fired. Uh, I, I, I haven't been going to work, and the first 2 days that I got injured from this strenuous, heavy, uh, from these strenuous, heavy loads that I was lifting, like, um, the first 2 days were just awful. Like, I literally could not walk for most of the first day. And the second day was not that much better. And, um, and so I've basically learned that I cannot work these very physically intensive jobs. I can stand up all day just fine. If a job requires me to stand up all day, I can do that, but I cannot be lifting heavy equipment and pushing carts around and vacuuming and moving furniture, and I can't do that. I wish I could, because it pays pretty damn well and it's an easy way to get a job hired on the spot, but I don't think I can do that. So I'm doing this today instead. I mean, by now I would have normally got off work, but I'm doing this. Um, these live streams, these live streams used to blow up like crazy. I used to do these, like, it wouldn't matter at what time of day I would do them. I'd immediately get like 10 or so viewers that were really active in the chat. Um, it would be at a consistent like 20, 25 really active chat, and I'd stream for like 4 or 5 hours. And it used to be something that I would do every single day. Oftentimes just because I would get really depressed and I didn't really do VCs with people back then. I mean, I still don't really. And I got some amount of catharsis out of just screaming into the void as best as I possibly could. I saw it as a sort of art back then, and I still sort of do. Um, I would spend a lot of time thinking about words and how I use them and how other people use them. And I do these streams as like a way to practice that in a format where my words can't be edited out. So obviously that is going to create some tension for you. It's going to create a place where, I mean, you have to speak. You don't want dead air on radio, so you just have to keep filling the air with interesting things. And that was a really fun thing for me. Um, but it would garner a lot of attention, you know, for a channel of my size at that time at least. But I wonder, you know, how much interest people even have in this stuff anymore, because my audience has changed so much over time. Like, my audience in 2019, which is in like early 2020, which is probably the height of when I was doing those live streams, um, I think it was comprised of totally different people. Like, it was a lot of these like R9K 8chan adjacent neats, and that was primarily the composition of my audience. And then like trans people who didn't really talk much, and Digibro fans who were already kind of adjacent to all of that image board stuff. That was my audience. And some of that audience came over to my channel in an artificial way. And what I mean by that is, you know, my videos would get posted to the boards, and there was word of mouth spreading throughout like Discord servers related to those communities. And Red Maratsuki and some of the other people who were making videos in that like general sphere, he sort of occupied a different lane, but it was like tangentially related, I guess. Those folks would come over to my videos and try to start drama and try and egg me on to, you know, get me involved in this like broader community stuff, and that artificially pumped up my numbers sometimes. And in general, it just seems like my audience was comprised of different people. Some people were really, really hardcore. They were all in on like the you die if you work, need or die type stuff. Very, very ideological. Generally opposed to like complex political discourse. But when I would have it on my streams, they were generally tolerant of it. You know, I think they just liked my personality or the way that I would speak about things. But generally they were there because of this culture surrounding my videos, which was this image board, like I can't have sex with anybody, like I'm a high school dropout NEET, I'm autistic, I'm mentally ill, you know, it was that kind of vibe. And the people who watched my videos at that time fit into that kind of vibe. But nowadays I feel like it's a lot harder to quantify the composition of my audience. It's a lot harder to get down to brass tacks on who exactly is watching the videos, because I feel like you have so many different people who will watch so many different types of videos I put out, or they'll only focus on videos about certain subjects, leave everything else behind. And it seems like the moment that we're in today, like as a society, it just doesn't seem like it's my moment. You know, back then, COVID was happening. Well, once you get into like late 2019, early 2020, everybody was inside of their house. Suddenly, everybody was talking about hikikomori and needs, and I just happened to be talking about it for years and had amassed this sort of cult-like clique on my channel. And then there was this interest on the boards, this like renewed interest on the boards in that culture, because so many people were sort of tangentially partaking in it through the state mandated lockdown orders. And so you had this situation where there was an influx of new people coming to my channel. There was a lot of people who had already been watching, but they had more free time because there were more justifications for them to be a NEET and so on, who were also engaging more. And I was doing these streams just like all these other people stuck inside of their house, and the people who were watching my streams were a bunch of other people stuck inside their house. I brought a unique perspective to it because I had been sort of choosing to do that for several years at that point, but also kind of not, due to mental illness and whatnot. Sort of a big can of worms there. I'm sure you already have dissected it if you've been here for a while. But that was the situation. That was the moment in time. And I'm happy with the videos that I made then. I'm happy with what I did. But now, I just don't, like, I don't know if I feel that sense of, like, aesthetic cohesion on my channel. Like, at that time, there was this, like, cultural shift happening all over the world towards being a NEET. Again, just, like, sort of out of happenstance. It was, like, tangentially related to being a NEET. Everybody was. And you had, me talking about this for quite a while. You had these people on 8chan, back when 8chan was actually around, who were very riled up and actually had a place to congregate. And my videos could be shared there, and it was kind of this unique thing. But now it feels like everybody is in these little pockets of the internet. Like, it seems like in order for there to be like this, like, microcosm of culture online, it either needs to be so small that you need, like, literally a microscope to see it, or it's so big that everybody is being influenced by it whether they like it or not. And so it's this weird situation where I don't know if I could enjoy a time on the internet now the way that I enjoyed it then. At that time, all of the factors sort of lined up, all the stars aligned to create that situation where I was sitting there doing a live stream like this, and there were a bunch of people showing up, all to talk about these sorts of problems, these sorts of experiences with isolation and mental illness and, being like an anime schizo. It really was a remarkable thing that, like, sticks out in my memory. It sticks out like a sore thumb. And, like, now I'm just here, and I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm a part of. I don't feel like I'm a part of anything on the internet. I don't feel like my audience is a part of anything on the internet. I feel like they're all sort of these different groups that sometimes they come for these, these types of videos, or sometimes they come for these types of videos. But it's not like this single unit that is united by, like, one broader thing. And I think you see this in the view counts. All my videos will get, like, a basic, like, baseline for views, because there's still those couple people who are just dedicated to my cult of personality or whatever, and that they'll watch everything. But usually the topic of the video is going to be the thing that gets people to watch it, because they're watching my videos to hear about a specific topic. And I think this is what we've seen with all the trans videos and stuff, But before I get into that, I just want to say hi to Agent 333 if you're still there. Hello. I took a mental note of your message while I was doing that rant, so I wouldn't forget the points that I was bridging off into. Good evening, Osaka. I hope your 4th of July went okay. Well, I mean, it's 6:38 at night over here, and the sun's still out. So I would say the night is still quite young. I mean, they haven't started blowing things up yet, um, and I'm excited for when that's gonna happen because um, I'll probably jump up there on that mountain and get a good view of it with Soph. So I'm looking forward to that. Um, Thank you. Could you speak a bit louder or move closer to the mic? Um, is anyone else having the issue that this Korean in the chat is having? Um, it might be because the air conditioner is on. If other people are having this issue, yeah, just let me know because I'm speaking fairly loud. I don't. You seem pretty clear to me. Seems fine. Okay, everybody else is saying that it seems fine. Um, no, it sounds fine. Um, okay, so it's on my end. Yeah, seems a little low, but it's listenable for sure. Okay, yeah, thank you for putting all that together for me. I appreciate it. You didn't have to turn the air conditioner off, babe.
It's fine. I can just turn it back on later.
Okay. I mean, I kind of wanted it on, but I mean, if you don't want it on, it's fine. Um, but yeah. Okay. So to kind of get back on like what I was Soph cameo. Yeah, she's right over there in the part of the screen that you can't see. Um, she's hiding. She's a hidden character. But yeah, um, so I guess what I'm trying to say is I feel like my channel doesn't have that like cultural and like aesthetic like cohesion that it used to have, where there's this like type of person online who like all of them watched my videos and I was talking about similar topics all the time and it was like this like neat like denpa thing. And now like I don't know what my channel is basically. Like I feel like there's people who watch like for like the gender stuff and then when I talk about neats still sometimes people will watch that stuff. When I'll talk about jobs, like people will watch that stuff. But like in general, it like I don't really know what people come to my channel for anymore. Like I don't. It seems like my audience has been divided on so many different lines. Like I feel like the gender videos are a perfect example of that because I just had an experience with detransitioning that I've analyzed in a lot of depth. I feel very happy with how I've put all of that out there. And, you know, basically people can hear the story and they can make what they want to out of it. But I have some opinions on like the like broader like problems that I've noticed in advocacy for trans rights or certain tendencies that I've noticed by individual members in that community that I felt are interesting to discuss and receive input from said community on. Um, and so I've discussed those things as well. Obviously, having Soph around helps me do that. Um, but I mean, yeah, I don't have really anything else to say about that. Maybe like two other things I have to say about that. So um, I just like hearing you talk authentically. Well, thank you. I think that like the people who have stuck around at this point, I feel like that's generally what they're um, interested in. Let's see here. Came for the Denpa, stayed for the schizo posting. Does anyone know what Denpa is? Like I feel like I feel like Denpa is at this point it's like one of these terms like woke. Like it gets thrown around so much that and it's so broad that like nobody can define it. Like has anyone actually defined Denpa? I have no idea. I have no idea what it means. Denpa has so many meanings. Yeah, exactly. Like, there's like the traditional meaning that it means in the context of Japanese media, but then there's like this weird like Denpa mob thing that me and No started making into its own thing. Arbitrary grill, that's why I have stayed. Well, good to hear. The only meaning of Denpa that I know is the music. That's based. That's based. I used to listen to Denpa music constantly when I was a hikikomori. I would just have that shit blasting, like, all the time. Um, and it sort of helped me, like, I guess not feel alone with the mind state that I was in. Just kind of like a guy going insane in their room. Um, Crazy how you went from a hiki to where you are now. Well, I would say it's not as linear of a progression as we'd like to think. Wait, wait a minute. Let me see. It's blocking shitty kickflips' message for some reason. Um I can't read it. I literally can't read it. I don't know why. Um let's see. What the hell was I saying? Oh yeah, yeah. So it hasn't. Oh no, I am banned. Well, I just saw that message, but for some reason the other one wasn't showing up. But yeah, like what the hell was I saying? I said Denpa music rocks. Okay. Well, that one showed up. Um but yeah, I don't know. It's not. It hasn't been this like super linear thing, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Um like I still struggle with social anxiety quite a lot. Um, I still struggle with motivation and with depression. I'm just trying to fight against those things. And I think the difference between me now and me before is I had all of these things that I believed. I basically lived in a prison of belief. And it was this I was like religiously dedicated to this notion that if you die or if you work you die or you die if you work, and I'm being exploited, and this is all like one evil pyramid scheme. I mean, I am being exploited every time I go to work, but that doesn't mean that I can't derive positive things from it. You know, that doesn't mean that the struggle or pain inherent to these endeavors doesn't in fact build character. You know, so I lived in this prison of belief that was quite black and white. Like it, I really did not see all of the nuance involved with this stuff. And so I just let my mental health issues eat away at me. I didn't try to fight back at them at all. And so now I'm still struggling with them. They've gotten a little bit easier, but I have not given up. And I think in the past I was in the mindset of giving up. But I try every day, even though it's really hard. Um, I never thought about Denpa as a term. I always treated it like the name of the collective slash music. Well, that's based. I'm still stuck in my room doing nothing. Same. How did you develop that nuance for work? I feel incredibly stuck with my job, and I struggle a lot with it. Um, I mean, I would describe this as just like a cognitive leap that I've made. Like I've spent a lot of time thinking about this, and I've realized that it will be beneficial for me to struggle in this way, to experience pain in this way, to have hardship in this way. I just need to actually make myself do it. And that's what I'm in the process of doing right now. Um, Yeah, like when I first got here to this city, I was spending every single day just doing small stuff. So applying for jobs, going to these job boards and just applying for absolutely everything and going to interviews. And you get lots of interviews in this city. I don't know about where you live, but um, those things felt like small steps I could make. Because when you do a job interview, it's basically the same thing as doing a YouTube video. You have a certain set of information that an audience would like to hear about, and you present it in a presentable and dense fashion that doesn't waste people's time. Um, so a lot of the skills that are necessary for making videos actually go into a job interview. Um, and so I just translated one to the other. Now, if you don't do that, it may not be as simple. It's probably going to be a little bit harder, have a little bit more of a learning curve, but the basic idea isn't too difficult to grasp and to develop for. And so I started off with this small stuff, interviews and applications. And then when I actually got hired to a place, it ended up being this unfortunate situation where the work was so backbreaking for someone of my level of stamina at this time and my level of physical strength that after one day at work, I ended up getting bedridden and was like, fuck, like I can't even do this. But I was able to talk myself out of that tree. Like, even though I still feel really bad about what happened, like, the fact of the matter is, there are other jobs that exist that do not require anywhere near that level of physical effort, that will be easier for me to do, that I totally can do. And so, that's one of the other things is that, like, if you do encounter a setback like that, where, like, you're working a job that's just not for your skill set or your body type or whatever, and you fail at it, like, there's no shame in failing. Like, it may feel like it, and for me, like, right now, it does kind of feel like it, but you just have to remember, like, you really have to drill it into your head. Like, you can't give up there. You have to be able to look at these other opportunities that will be, you know, things that you're better suited for, and just keep on going and try to do those things. You've got to analyze what went wrong, cease to do those things again, and continue to do the things that works. And if more things go wrong and you fail again, just repeat the process until you've got a working formula. Okay, what other messages are there? Surely it makes a difference between working without a purpose and working towards building a life with your wife. Oh, absolutely. Oh, absolutely. I think having her here, it really does make all the difference. Like, it gives me a direction, it gives me motivation. Um, it's life fulfilling. Yeah. Let's see here. View message. What is this message? It's not letting me view the message. It says message was held for review, and then it's just not letting me look at it. YouTube has gotten out of control. Thank you for the advice. For a while, I felt like I had a moral failing because I suck at my current job. Yeah, I mean, it's okay to make mistakes. My aunt has a PhD in law, and, she told me, I think it was almost a year ago now, after I felt like I failed at my first job, that, like, it's okay to fail. That she failed at a number of the first jobs that she had, and she had to work her ass off to be able to get to the position that she's in now. But the way that you ultimately get into a better position for yourself like that is by failing and accepting the consequences of that failure, looking at what you can do better, and then just doing it. Like, it seems like such a simple thing when you say it, but, like, we have all this ideology that we're inundated with. You know, be it from parents, teachers, peers. These people are always trying to tell us, like, you know, if you fail, you should feel bad for it, you should just give up, you're bad. And they fill our minds with this negativity about ourselves. When, like, everyone failed at something before they got good at doing that thing. Everyone who you see being good at a thing did not wake up just magically being good at that thing. They either had to practice to do that specific thing, or they practiced doing all of the component parts that make up that thing, and now they're able to do that thing because they practiced that other stuff that's involved with it. So either they directly practiced to do that thing, or they indirectly did so by, you know, let's say you're a cashier, you know, you've been practicing talking to people your whole life. You've been practicing the math skills to count the money that goes in the register and out of the register. These things were not you practicing to be a cashier per se, but they're indirectly related. And if you haven't had a lot of practice doing those things, you might suck at being a cashier. But I got news for you. It doesn't end there unless you let it in there. And you know, I could just as easily run away from my wife and my future and my life with my tail between my legs, feeling like a failure, and I would be a failure because I would allow myself to exist in that fate. I would make a choice to fail, to actually fail, not just to like make a couple mistakes and like fuck a few things up. You know, you've only truly failed once you've given up. And a lot of this sounds like standard advice bro type stuff, I think, because when it actually comes out of your mouth, it sounds so simple. But I think you just have to power through and do the things enough times to like be able to solidify the words in reality. Like the words aren't they're not firmly placed on the ground until you've actually done the things to confirm that they're real. But you got to believe in them enough to do those things. The feds, federal agents. Yes, government terrorists want to murder me because I'm autistic. Yeah, I don't know, it's hard. Emotions are hard. Existing is hard. Like, it's been hard for me today, but I'm still going. You know, you can't act out. You can't give up. Even though your brain might be telling you to do those things. Like, your brain is gonna fucking beam all of these fanciful and crazy ideas straight into the front of your head. And it's gonna feel like there's some good ideas. It's gonna feel like they're worthy of doing. But those are just feelings. And feelings wear off. But the actions that you take now can have an impact forever. You know, if you're in a relationship, for example, and you're feeling angry or depressed, or you're having issues with trauma and so on, that choice, that single choice to blow up at your significant other in light of those feelings could be the difference between the rest of your life and right now. Like, do you want to make that kind of trade-off just because you're feeling something in the moment that is fiery and intense? Yeah, maybe take a moment and step back for just a moment and think, like, is this something I'm going to feel forever, or am I just feeling this right now? 9 times out of 10, probably like 9.8 times out of 10, it's just something you're feeling right now. And it's hard to recognize that when you've been feeling certain things for so long, so consistently. You know, if you hate your job, for example, and you're always feeling this malaise and negativity surrounding it, it might feel like you're just going to feel that way about jobs forever. I know that that's how I feel right now, but am I going to let myself be consumed by that feeling? Am I going to let that define me and the way that I see this stuff? I can choose to do that. Or I can choose to recognize that there is a complex series of events that have led to me feeling this way. And I can make myself feel differently in the future. If I give it enough time, and if I work on all those different factors involved in making me feel that way. The most interesting philosophers are the ones that stopped trying to find the meaning of life and are just trying to be happy. I think I agree. I don't know if I would say like the most interesting, though I do see where you're coming from. I think they're probably the ones that we can learn from the most. Oh wow, we got 10 people here. Amazing. We're getting back to those COVID numbers. Um, yeah, I don't know. Do you guys know anything about these magic numbers? I've been trying to figure that out lately. I don't know anything about this stuff. There's these people online who just post numbers constantly and like claim that there's different meanings behind the different ones, or like there's like a word assigned to it. Do you guys know anything about this? Diogenes was the only based philosopher. That's pretty funny. Like angel numbers? Is that what they are? I literally don't know. Google, I'm not gonna say that number on the off chance that it's like a dog whistle for something. No thank you is spamming this weird emoji that I've never seen before. It's like this crazy numerology puzzle website, ARG thing, art project thing. Huh. Is this like a TF2 character? I can't tell who that is. Nails? What are you talking about? No, I don't know. I have no idea what you're saying. Incoherent. Human pattern recognition into overdrive magical thinking, says Arbitrary Grill. That could be what it is. Yeah, it could be like some type of like preamble to psychosis, like the calm before the storm. The emoji is biting its nails? Oh, I see. I don't know what that's in reference to, though. That, and I think we're just very spiritual beings. That's why people who are atheist leftists often lean into politics religiously, because they lack any other spirituality. I see what you're saying. And I mean, I would generally agree with the notion that leftists are religious people. I often think that incels are religious people as well. You know, these people taking an ideology and supplanting the role that traditional religion would have historically had with that ideology. Especially like the more you're into like tanky type stuff. But here's the question I want to ask you guys. Where, just geographically, I just want you to guess, where are these leftists in the world usually located? Just take a wild guess. Take a wild guess what country has the highest concentration of people like this. People who turn their political ideology into a religion, who are also atheists. um, Seattle, Vancouver, USA, Canada, Atlanta. Oh my goodness. Um, there's a bunch of really interesting messages in the chat that I want to get to in a moment. So I'm going to try to finish this point. The U.S. coastal cities, mostly LMFAO. Yeah, what I was going to say is it's the United States. It's the United States where this happens. We don't see this in Canada, which is, for all intents and purposes, a very culturally atheist country. It's a deeply secular country. About 40% of the population is atheists. We don't see this in Europe, where even though there is a large amount of religious people, I'm talking about Western Europe, by the way, they have a very secular culture. So they have a very secular culture, but there's a lot of religious people. The other country that I was going to mention besides the United States is actually a little place called Ireland. Is that throughout all of, like, more or less all of Irish history, the church and the state were in a number of ways synonymous. There were a number of laws on the books meant to protect the authority of the Catholic Church, meant to enforce Catholic doctrine, and this became endemic in the society. It influences the way that people think down to the cultural level. And you see these, like, John Connolly, like, crazy, fucking crazy Marxist tankies, like Red Youth, all over Ireland. They are all over Ireland. And they're all over the United States. In the DSA, in the Communist Party of the USA, and these other, you know, very religiously oriented leftist parties. It's Ireland in the United States. And I think it's because what happens is people in these two countries, you know, they grow up in a religious culture. They live in a religious culture, but they become atheists, and they still have that deep desire rooted in their psychology to have some type of religion, to supplant the traditional religion with something that has the same functions. And I don't see this happening in Germany, you know, Norway, Canada, and these other very atheistic, or excuse me, very secular countries. I just don't see that happening. I think this is, yeah, this is endemic to, you know, the more religious your culture is, people can become atheists, but they'll still have very religious attitudes. So, yeah. Oh wow, there's a lot of interesting messages here. It looks like you look like you're streaming from heaven. Yeah, the curtains here are pretty cool. The way that the light beams onto the camera. We did a chapter in a class about superstitions and if we believe in ghosts, and I thought I can't make myself believe in ghosts, but I kind of wish I did because it would make things a bit more interesting. Yeah, I mean, that's you're spitting, it's true. The United States of America is full of the most annoying types of religious leftists, lol, but there's plenty in Australia, tbh. Trotskyists are pretty horrific at it. There's a lot in the UK too. Yeah, I mean, I generally agree with that. I'd like to think I believe in Presbyterian Christianity, but I cannot call myself a good Christian in terms of lifestyle and commitment. Well, I mean, I think we're constantly attempting to be better Christians. We're constantly attempting to be better people. Even if you don't believe in Christianity or any one religion, it's like it's a marathon. It's not a sprint, and it's a marathon you're going to be running on, like basically until you die. So I wouldn't, fault yourself too much for that. Um, you just got to keep trying. Ireland is a weird country. It really is. The United Kingdom is my favorite country in the world. I would live there in a heartbeat. Um, but Ireland, I think, I think Ireland would be my new favorite if I lived there. Everything I like about the UK, from everything I read about Ireland, it just does it more. And generally, Irish people seem to be more welcoming to Americans than British people. I got a lot of annoyed looks when I visited the UK. A lot of like just disgust and rudeness the moment that I opened my mouth and spoke with this accent. Just some really nasty people. I mean, not everybody. I want to be clear, not everybody, but you see those looks that people will give you, the way that they'll talk to you, like it becomes abundantly clear. They're like, get this person the fuck out of here, like get this person out of our country. And I don't know, it made me feel a little weird. But also that's the experience I've had in literally every country I've ever been to. Even Canada, there were a couple people like that, but only when I wore my American flag sweater. When I didn't do that, uh, I seemed exactly the same. So yeah. Say what you will about pseudo-religious lefties, but they're not going to be as obnoxious as actual hardcore religious people. Tax heaven. I don't know what he's trying to say. Why does it keep censoring why does it keep censoring Shitty Kickflip's messages? It says dog water country. I can't read the full thing for some reason. Yeah, but they're too powerful for the glowies. I think it's because there's an expletive in their username. Go and view all messages if you can. No, I have the live chat on instead of the top chat. But in the app, I can't as easily moderate my own chat to approve messages. Like I was trying to click on it to do that, and for some reason on the phone it just doesn't want me to. But yeah, I don't know, man. There's a there's a strong distaste out there for people who just happen to be from the United States. Like without even like saying anything substantial, there's just this distaste that people seem to have when you visit their country. Even if you're speaking their language, like if you're just from America, they're like, so bad. It's like, what's going on here, man? What are you drinking? This is Mike's Hard Lemonade Black Cherry. Hard black cherry lemonade. Alright, gotta see you later, Osaka. Bye. I'm glad you showed up. It was nice chatting with you. When YouTube wasn't censoring you. NASA don't pay taxes, why should I? Does NASA not pay taxes? I mean, I guess they're funded by the government. But generally it's to do research and space travel that benefits the nation. So I'm not quite sure about that one. Forever Star to me. Well, I appreciate the people who still call me Star. I appreciate the people who still call me Outlaw. For those of you who have been around that long. it creates a sense of camaraderie in my own brain. Okay, I'm gonna walk over to the fridge. Yeah, she was asking me about this one, which is just, this is the 5% alcohol version of Mike's Hard Lemonade. But this is Mike's Harder Lemonade, and it's the 8% alcohol version. I don't think these ones taste as good. Um, but why is it censoring? Oh my fucking god. Hey babe, can I make you a mod on my stream?
Okay.
Because you have the laptop over there?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Um, biggest mistake ever. Wait a minute. Yeah, I literally just can't read those messages. I think it's because there's swears in them. Okay, Yanks, we're going to temporarily raise taxes slightly because we've just been at war for ages, so we need money to repair. Biggest mistake ever. True. Is the sun outside of your room or something? Well, the sun is outside of the apartment. Have you played any video games recently? I've been playing Mario 3 on my Dendy. What the hell is a Dendy? Uh, the last video game I played was Dishonored 2. It was okay. Wasn't as good as the first game, but it was alright. I like the movement in those games. They have good movement. But yeah, if you post in the chat, I can add you as a mod.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay. God damn it. See, the moment that I did that, there are people who come into spam. Interesting. Literally the moment that I do that.
Whatever.
Thank you. I made no thank you a moderator as well. He used to be a mod. I don't, is there like a way to ban these guys? Yeah, you can put them in timeout, yeah. Okay. Alright. They always appear, yeah. Well, I thought these guys had started to leave me alone because, like, the last 2 live streams that I did, they never showed up. But now they're just, yeah, they're doing their thing again. They're letting it all hang out. But, I mean, generally the pattern with these people is that they will do it, like, they just won't stop. They'll make a million new accounts to continue to do it. But it's about 7:17 Pacific Standard Time now. So we're starting to wrap up the stream. This is around the time that I had intended to get off because, as I said at the beginning, I wanted to stream for about an hour. You know, we're almost at about the hour mark now. So if these guys keep letting everything hang out and doing their thing, then you know, it wasn't for long enough to cause any kind of substantial issue, which is what their only goal is. You know, their only goal is to bother me in some way. They want to cause as many slight inconveniences for me as possible because they have nothing better to do. How do they get out of it though? Yeah, that's what I wonder about. Like, they got some magical ability. Um, there's some hidden knowledge. All right. Um, we're at about an hour now, and I'm being DDoSed. So I will say salutations, happy 4th, and enjoy the rest of your day.